Good morning everyone, today we're going to be answering the age-old question on when should you be upgrading gear and whether you should be upgrading now or wait for later. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to go over is of course my current gear. So I do have a Wingguard katana, so this is the best in slot weapon at the moment. However, my armors are incredibly outdated. I am still using the Octo Armor Argas. So the Octo armors are actually like an entire generation behind all of our current armors. The current armors that we have are the Aina armors. So as you can see over here, this is a 9-star rarity armor versus my Octo armor, which is an 8-star rarity armor. However, the Aina armors aren't the newest armor around the block. We do have the Aina Armor Argas, Beltas, and Shezas. And these are usually the ones that people are looking for because these are the latest and greatest armors. So the first thing I want to talk about are going to be the weapons, since this tends to be the main focus, as this is your main source of damage. You know, your weapon determines how much damage you can deal. And so the big question that I often get asked is, Kero, I currently have a Vershmel weapon or a 9-star rarity weapon, or maybe I'm still using the Argenti weapons. Should I upgrade to another weapon, or what weapon should I upgrade to? So the answer is yes, you definitely should upgrade. However, I recommend upgrading a tier below the best in slot. So currently the Wingguard weapons are the best in slot. As you can see, they are an 11-star rarity weapon. However, Wingguards are still incredibly expensive. They have gone down in price significantly, and if you just wait a little bit longer, it's going to be a lot easier to obtain an 11-star weapon. So if you want to wait, you can do that. Just understand that, you know, you won't be able to farm as efficiently with all of the events going on right now, and you wouldn't be able to take full advantage of all of the different campaigns in order to farm efficiently, which is exactly why I recommend people to upgrade to the previous tier. So the previous tier is the 10-star rarity weapons. As you can see, we have the Zover weapon, we have the Rayar weapon, and we have the Flugelguard weapon. These three weapons used to be very difficult to obtain. The Flugelguard weapon, when this first came out, the drop rate was abysmal. However, eventually the drop rate has improved slowly but surely. The Rayar weapons was alright, it just was a huge pain in the butt in order to craft multiple copies of the Rayar weapons to get the right fixa and then eventually upgrading your fixa. The Zover weapons are a lot more straightforward to get. You can just buy it with Growth Mint 2s, so the Zover weapons are incredibly easy to obtain. So because of the ease of access of these three weapons, I would recommend, if you're still using a 9-star rarity weapon or below, that you should just upgrade to the next tier. All right, just upgrade to a 10-star rarity weapon, any of these three 10-star rarity weapons, and you're going to be fine. Especially the Flugelguard weapon. The Flugelguard weapon, the thing about the Flugelguard weapon is whenever you Photon Blast, everyone around you gets a buff. So not only are you buffing your own damage, you're also buffing everyone else's damage. So this is more of a utility weapon. However, it does offer that extra buff to everyone else versus the Zover weapon and the Rayar weapon. These weapons are a little bit more selfish, as you know, they just kind of buff yourself and not the team. However, of course, if you are going for the best in slot and you're not happy with anything else except for the best in slot, of course the Wingguard weapons are something that you can consider. Just understand that the prices are kind of ridiculous right now, and if you just wait a couple more weeks, the Wingguard weapon prices will go down significantly, because I do have a funny feeling that we will be getting a new 11-star rarity weapon. Because for those who don't know, Sega always follows the same cycle. We started with the Flugelguard weapon. This was super difficult to get, super rare. Then they introduced the Rayar weapon, which was a craftable weapon. So the Wingguard weapon currently is like the Flugelguard weapon, super rare, super expensive. However, maybe in 2 weeks time, we're gonna get a new 11-star craftable weapon. And then later down the line, we're gonna get another craftable weapon, such as the Zover weapon. So, you know, they always follow a similar pattern in the release cycle of new weapons and new armors. So we've had the Wingguard weapon for a month and a half, a month and a week. And so I'm fully expecting that in about 2 more weeks that we will get a new 11-star rarity weapon, which is probably not going to be as good as the Wingguard weapon. It might be like equal or just a little bit worse, but a lot more obtainable for the general public. So for me personally, I think you should just upgrade to a placeholder weapon. You know, just use a Zover weapon, use a Rayar weapon, use a Flugelguard weapon, whatever you can get your hands on easily, and just throw in a bunch of LC capsules and you're good to go. You can literally copy my Vershmel Katana's augments and just throw in a bunch of LC capsules, and then if you want, you can put in some Trial capsules. There's the new Master Trial or whatever Trial, which has no negative effect, so you could throw that on. And don't use an XD capsule, this is way too expensive. Even if it's going for like $1 million or whatever, it's still too expensive for what it is. You know, just throw in some other LC capsules and you're gonna be fine, just as a placeholder, so that when we do get the new 11-star rarity weapons, which are craftable, you know, you'll be able to craft that and upgrade to the next 11-star rarity weapon. And that way you get a huge DPS increase. However, it's also perfectly fine if you just want to fully invest into like a Zover weapon or a rare weapon or a Flugelgar weapon and just stick with that weapon until we get the 12-star rarity weapons and then upgrade then. So you would skip a generation. So that's exactly what I do with my armors. So now we're going to talk about my armors. As you can see, I'm currently using my Octo Armor Argas. This is an entire generation behind. As you can see right here, this is an 8-star rarity armor. We already have 9-star rarity armors. We have the Aina armors, Arga, Belta, and Sheza. You can see that I also have high fixes on all of these armors as well. So why am I not using them? The reason is simply because of my augments. I spent a lot of money on getting these expensive augments onto my Octo Armor Argas. So I can't justify re-augmenting it on all of the Aina armors in order to get that extra 1% potency. So because of that, my logic is, hey, I've got these Octo Armor Argas, they're 8-star rarity, I'm gonna wait for the new 10-star rarity armors, and then I'm gonna augment transfer all of this to the 10-star rarity armors. That is the logic behind why I have not upgraded yet. And if worst case scenario, if the augment transfer passes don't get announced next week and we don't get it next month, well, worst case scenario, I will just re-augment my 10-star rarity armors and I'll hold on to these so that later down the line, if these augments still hold value, I'll transfer them to my new 11-star rarity armors. I can always do that. So that is the logic behind why I haven't upgraded. However, for the average player, especially if you're still just using LC capsules, please upgrade. It's always in your benefit to upgrade. The reason I say this is because LC capsules are very, very obtainable. If I look over here to my LC capsules, you can see I've got, you know, thousands of Gladius Soul LCs, High L Domina LCs, you know, Gigas Maste LCs, Hal Finale LCs. I've got a lot of very high value LC capsules, and you know, they're in the thousands and they only cost 10 for a 100% chance to put on any armor or any weapon. So if you're using LC capsules, then it's definitely in your best interest to upgrade to whatever the newest armor is immediately or as soon as you can. Because if we take a look at the cost of these armors right now, you know, 6,000 Meseta for an Arga. Let's take a look at the Belta. The Belta is going for 8,000, and let's take a look at the Sheza. It's going for 4,000. You know, these armors are incredibly inexpensive and incredibly accessible for everyone, and they give much better stats than what my Octo Armors gives me. They give you 5.5% potency for 2 different damage types, as well as 35 HP and 7 PP. This is really, really big. Now I know some of you guys are thinking, Carol, why didn't you talk about the Aina armors, the regular ones? And the reason is because they are not tradable in the personal shop. So you can't buy these, you have to farm for these. Now they drop like candy and they drop like everywhere. However, as you can see, their stats aren't as good if you are planning to play a singular class or a singular damage type. This is better because it gives you 5.5% all potency, so it works for all of the different builds that you have. However, you do sacrifice a little bit of HP and a little bit of PP. You're actually sacrificing 15 HP as well as 5 PP to be exact. However, you do get all potency, so if you are planning to use all of the different weapons and you play multiple classes, then using the regular Aina armors might be the best in slot for you. However, if you're like me and you specialize in a very specific playstyle and a very specific weapon type or damage type, then you can definitely consider the Arga, Belta, or Shezas instead. So to recap, for the average player, just aim for 1 generation older than the current best in slot. So the current best in slot for the weapons are the 11-star rarity weapons. Aim for a 10-star rarity weapon, whatever is the most obtainable for you, whether it be a Flugelguard weapon, a Rayar weapon, a Zover weapon, whatever is easiest to obtain, stick with one of these. As for our armor, I recommend everyone to immediately upgrade to the best in slot armors, which are the 9-star rarity armors, simply because they are dirt cheap right now. You can immediately upgrade to the Aina armor, Arga, Belta, and Sheza, depending on what weapon type you use, or if you just want to make one armor that fits for all of your different playstyles or all of your different classes, you can just stick with the regular Aina armor. Do not be like me where you're still using the Octo armor, which is a generation behind. The only reason that I'm doing this again is because I hyper invested into my augments. The majority of players are not going to be using super high-end augments, and if you are using super high-end augments, I don't think you'd be watching this video. So for the regular player, just immediately upgrade to the Ina Armor, Argo Belt and Sheza, throw in a bunch of LC capsules into them, or like, you know, easily obtainable capsules that are not very expensive, so it's a relatively low investment, and you're gonna be fine. It's gonna be good to go until we get the new rarity armors, and then when we get the new 10-star rarity armors, if you wanna hyper invest, then you can do so there.
Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel, it really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.